Welcome to English with Abby and Tori, and welcome back to our course called Level Up Your English. This is for intermediate English learners around a B1 level, those who want to take their English to the next level. So today we will be talking about writing in English, writing clearly and effectively in English. Clearly to get your message across, and effectively to really say what you want to say. Last video, in our fifth video, we talked about reading, and we talked about the 4 components of learning a language. There are 4 important components to learning a language. They are listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So in the last video, I mentioned that reading is extremely important to learning a language because it will help you build more vocabulary, it will help you better understand the grammar, and it will help you be able to speak and listen better. Writing is very similar. Writing will also help you with grammar, understanding the grammar of a language. How to speak correctly comes with knowing how to write correctly as well. And so today we will talk about three different things in writing and how to write better in English. And then the 4th thing will be a short writing challenge. So we will talk about writing basic paragraph structure and what that looks like in English. We will talk about connectors and transition phrases, well, transition words and transition phrases. And we will talk about common writing mistakes. I want to say this video is good also for native English speakers. I teach students who are native English speakers, and all of these things they need. They generally don't know how to write a good paragraph or use connectors and transitions, and they make many writing mistakes. And so these are good for all English speakers in general. The first thing with writing we will talk about is basic paragraph structure. There are 3 parts to a paragraph that are important to know and understand. So the first is the topic sentence. This is the very first sentence of your paragraph. It will tell your reader what your paragraph is going to be about. The next are the supporting sentences. This will generally be between 3 to 5 sentences that help support the main idea or the topic sentence. So they give more information about the topic sentence, they give evidence or supporting details that help show your reader more about the topic sentence or the main idea of the paragraph. The final piece is the concluding sentence. This is the last sentence of your paragraph, and it will just summarize your paragraph. It will restate what you wrote about, remind your reader what they just read about, and then if you have another paragraph coming, it could link to the next paragraph. Paragraphs generally are between 5 to 7 sentences, but they can be longer than that if necessary. So here I have an example paragraph. My favorite season is spring. The weather is nice, flowers bloom, and I enjoy spending time outside. That's why spring makes me feel happy. You'll notice this paragraph is very short. It's only 3 sentences, but it's just an example. So we have our first topic sentence right here. My favorite season is spring. That tells you the whole paragraph will be about why spring is my favorite season. And so then in the supporting sentences after, I give some reasons as to why spring is my favorite season. The weather is nice, flowers bloom, and I enjoy spending time outside. These 3 reasons show why spring is my favorite season. And then we come to the concluding sentence right here. That's why spring makes me feel happy. So it is concluding the paragraph, reminding the reader what they just read about, why spring is my favorite season. But I don't just repeat the topic sentence, I restate it in a different way and maybe give more information as well. One last thing with paragraphs. Each paragraph will be about only one main idea. And so in this paragraph, I would talk about my favorite season. And then in a next paragraph, I could talk about my least favorite season. But in one paragraph, you stick to one main idea. The second thing we will talk about is connectors and transitions. Connectors and transitions. Connectors and transitions are words or phrases, and when I say phrase, I mean a group of words that connect ideas together in a sentence or in a paragraph. And there are different jobs these transition phrases or words can have. They can do different things. And so it's important to understand different ones and what their job is in order to use them correctly. And so, for example is one, but we have words that add something. If you want to add information in a sentence or in a paragraph, these are transition words you can use to show addition, to show some information being added. Some examples of addition transition words are also, in addition, and furthermore. These are 3 examples, 2 words and 1 phrase. Also, in addition, furthermore. Also, I would like to add, or furthermore, you can use these to add information. And then we have contrast. Contrast is when you show how something is different. Sometimes you might hear compare and contrast. Compare is when you show how 2 things are similar, and contrast is when you show how 2 things or more are different. And so if you are talking about one thing, but you want to add in information that shows something different, you can use a contrasting transition word or phrase. Some examples are however, but, on the other hand. On the other hand is a very common phrase used in the English language, and it just means it's contrasting. Well, on the other hand, I could see how she might be right. And so on the other hand, it would just show a different viewpoint, a different idea that you can use in everyday language or in your writing. And then we have cause and effect. Cause and effect. And when you have cause and effect, it means something happens and you show the cause of that. Something, the effect, happens and you show how or why it happened, which is the cause. So some cause and effect transitions are because, therefore, and so. Because, therefore, and so. And then finally, we have example. These are transition words and phrases that show examples. So, as I said earlier, for example, or such as, or for instance. These 3 phrases can show examples. They can transition into showing examples. And here is an example sentence I have. I like pizza. However, I don't eat it often because it's expensive. I like pizza. However, I don't eat it often because it's expensive. So we have one here, the transition word however, which is a contrasting word. I like pizza. However, so it's contrasting. It's looking at a different side of it, how it is different. However, I don't eat it often because it's expensive. The third thing we will talk about is common writing mistakes. There are 4 common writing mistakes that writers in English make, and this goes for all English speakers, native and non-native. And these are very important to know and understand and to practice in your writing to make them correct. The first thing are sentence fragments. Sentence fragments. Sentence fragments, a fragment means it is not a complete sentence. It is missing something. A complete sentence has one subject and one predicate. One subject and one predicate. A fragment means it is missing a subject, a noun, or a predicate, the verb. And so, an example sentence fragment is because I went to the store. Because I went to the store. This sentence is a fragment. It is not complete. It is a fragment because it is missing both a subject and a verb, a noun and a verb at the beginning of the sentence. This itself, because I went to the store, is a dependent clause. This is a dependent clause, meaning it is just a group of words and not a complete sentence. And so in order to make this a complete sentence, we would need to say something like, I was gone because I went to the store. So if I add on the subject and verb here before the dependent clause, then it would be a complete sentence. I was gone because I went to the store. The next mistake we need to fix are run-on sentences. Run-on sentences. So the opposite of a fragment, a run-on sentence are 2 or 3 or more than that complete sentences not connected together correctly or not separated correctly. And so this example I will show you. I studied all night. I was very tired. This sentence is a run-on. It has 2 nouns and 2 verbs not connected together correctly. So our first noun, here I, and here verb studied. The second noun, I, and verb was. I studied all night. I was very tired. So this is where we need to fix the problem. The first way we could fix the problem is by putting a period after night and making this one sentence and making I was very tired one sentence. There are 2 other ways we could fix this problem. First way would just be removing the I. And so we could say, I studied all night and was very tired. That way, we make this into just one sentence. The final way we could make this into a correct, complete sentence is by making it into a compound sentence. A compound sentence is 2 complete phrases, right here, 2 complete sentences, connected together with a comma and a coordinating conjunction, like and, but, for, so, nor, yet. And so we could make this into a complete sentence by first, I need the I back. I studied all night, comma, and I was very tired. I studied all night, comma, and I was very tired. And that would make it into a complete sentence. And those are 3 ways to make this run-on sentence complete. The next mistake that I see a lot of in writing is repetitive words. words that are used over and over again in the same sentence or the same paragraph or the same piece of writing. This makes your writing very boring. It also probably is not saying what you want to say, and so it's not being very effective. And so in order to write more effectively, you need to stop repeating words and choose words that mean what you are trying to say. We have another video, actually a couple videos, on synonyms of words that will help you come up with better vocabulary. And here is an example. I was very, very cold. Here we have very repeated twice. And first of all, saying I was very cold is fine, but it's not effective in really getting across the message that you're trying to say. And so I was very, very cold is the least effective option. There are two ways that you could fix this. You could say, I was freezing. I was freezing. That would show that you were very, very cold. Or you could take out the very's altogether and say extremely. I was extremely cold. But freezing really is your best option because it means very, very cold without saying very, very cold. Freezing shows what you are trying to say. And the final way we have mistakes in writing is by using the wrong verb tense. Your verb tense needs to match two things. It needs to match the subject of your sentence, whether it is a singular subject, one, or a plural subject, more than one. It also needs to match when your sentence is taking place. Is your sentence talking in the past? Is your sentence talking in the present? Or is your sentence speaking in the future? Whenever it is speaking, it needs to use that verb tense. And so in this sentence, yesterday I go to the market. First of all, we know this is past because it says yesterday. And here we have a present tense verb. So it is the incorrect verb tense. We need to say, I went to the market. The final piece is a short writing challenge for you. You can write your paragraph in the comments of this video so we can see it, or you could write it on paper yourself. It's up to you. But challenge yourself to write in and answer this prompt. Write a short paragraph about your favorite hobby. About your favorite hobby. A hobby is something you enjoy doing in your spare time, not your work, but something you just do for fun, like reading. Writing could be a hobby, playing piano, playing a game, anything that you enjoy doing in your spare time or when you have extra time, you could write about. So in your paragraph, make sure you have one topic sentence, which will be the main idea of your paragraph. And then I said 3 supporting sentences. It could be 2 or 3 supporting sentences explaining why this is your favorite hobby, giving examples and details. And then have a concluding sentence at the end of your paragraph. So it will be about 5 sentences if you write 1, 3, and 1. The final thing is to try and add one connector phrase that we talked about and have no grammar mistakes. Challenge yourself to use one connector phrase and have no grammar mistakes if possible. Thank you for watching, and I hope that this was helpful in making you a better writer in English. Tell us in the comments if it was helpful, which tip was your favorite, or which was the most helpful, along with writing your short paragraph challenge as well. And we hope to see you back tomorrow for our next video.